Alright, so a couple weeks ago I was out here, actually it was probably a couple months ago, and if you remember, there were all sorts of logs and stuff in here and brush pile, and I cleared that all out. And well, that's not why we're here today, but it's been a while. I'm back, I'm still here, I'm still working with my tractor. I haven't sold it or anything, it's just I haven't had any time to get to anything. Like I said, it was probably a few months ago when I was out here clearing this up, and I want to get that, what's left of that wood pile out, and then this main pile out of here. But that's not the reason why we're out here today. Let's take a look at my new purchase. Alright, so here it is, and I don't have any slings, so I'm going to try a chain here and see if I can just lift it off the trailer, get it down, and then hook it to the 3-point. So we'll set up a camera and we'll see what happens here. I know it's going to want to pull back this way towards the tractor, just the way I have it hooked. So we'll see what we can do here. Alright, so the dealer has it all set up. The setup includes like assembling it, making sure that there's gear oil in the gearbox, which this one has a sight glass, so that's good to know. But they asked me if I had the eye match for my tractor, which is that extra piece that bolts to your 3-point. I said no, I just have the 3-point arms, and they said, well, then they have to actually cut the PTO shaft down a little bit, otherwise it's too long. And I suppose because that eye match, you know, sits further back, you'd have to have a longer PTO, and if it's set up for that and you don't have it, well, then it's obviously going to be too long because it can only shorten so much. I didn't ask how much they cut off, but when I had this section off, you could see that they had cut the inside shaft and then also that plastic shield. Alright, so I got it all hooked up here. I just made a little trial run to make sure everything looks like it's supposed to. The one thing is my top link pin was a little short, so I'm just using a hitch pin for now. And I don't know exactly what the adjustment is. I just been using the 3-point arms to kind of not dig it into the ground. So the reason I went with the 48 or the 4-foot wide is that's what the dealer recommended. I know if you're on YouTube here, there's a lot of guys with 5-foot, and they say, well, you can take half as much at a crack or whatever, but the John Deere dealer said your best bet is a 4-foot. That's what we recommend for the 3025e and similar machines. So I was like, you know what, I'm fine with it being 4. I don't need a 5. I don't need it any bigger than what it needs to be, and if it takes a little longer because I'm taking a smaller bite at it, that's fine. So, and you can see here where the shield is here, so when I lift this up, that shield comes right up in there. So if it wasn't cut, you would definitely have an issue trying to lift the lifting the deck off the ground if you didn't have that shortened. Alright, so I'll set the camera up, and kind of what I want to work on is right alongside the woods here. Not so much the grass, because we just cut that. You can see some of this brushy stuff, and I just don't want to cut that with my lawnmower, and it's just too hard on the blades. So we'll get it set up and we'll cut a little bit and hopefully not break anything here on the first day. Alright, so the little bit I've used it here, I'm sold on this thing. Does a nice job. I believe they said it only cuts up to 1 inch, so you don't want to really hit anything bigger than that. There are some safety features built in, like a stump jumper, and the blades will actually swing back on themselves. They're kind of loosely mounted so that if you do hit something too big, you shouldn't break anything. And then there's also a slip clutch, but it makes nice work of like whatever this stuff is, this kind of viney stuff that's not really a grass, and there's some sticks to it. It's all brush. It just does a really nice job with that. You can kind of see that. churns it up, makes a nice trail. We get the pole saw, stick saw out here, man, it makes some really nice trails. It'll really clean everything up. Alright, so I got about an hour on it here, and I did some trail clearing on the inside of the woods here. Here's kind of what it looks like after you go over it. You know, and this is what I'm taking down. The way I was doing it was only taking a little bit, and I kept my forks down because I knew there was either stumps in here or something, and like I found those two pieces. Luckily I didn't like hit those. I did hit some bigger stuff, but it kind of just jumps, and like you can feel the blades that they stop engaging once you hit the bigger stuff like that. So that's good that all the safeties and everything are working. A couple things, like I said, this is the 4-foot model. This is always a big point for me here. So it says made in USA. Now what is made in USA? I'm assuming maybe the actual unit, the actual deck maybe, because if you come over this way, the gearbox here, made in China. So yeah, and it looks like we got I don't know if there's oil or water. Yeah, it must be water. Doesn't smell like oil, but it seems to do a pretty good job. I wasn't sure where I was supposed to run the throttle, and I just did a quick Google on it, and there's some guy saying, oh, start it at like 1200 and run it between like 16 and 1800 RPM on the dash here. And well, once you kick the PTO in, this screen down here will show you what your PTO speed is, and it's supposed to be 540. And I don't know who said 1800 RPM is 540. It's not even close. If you put it at 2500, and that's kind of what the dash indicates. Let's see if we can get to it right there. It's got the PTO icon. 2500 will get you pretty close, plus or minus a little bit. I wouldn't run it low. When I started it low like that, everything would kind of shake until you brought the RPM up. And if I just started it, like set the throttle at 2500, pulled the PTO and started, it was a smooth start. Nothing was jarring or jamming or anything. So I don't know what those guys were talking about. But if you got a 3025e and you're running some sort of an implement with a 540 PTO, just set it at 2500 RPM. That'll be spot on. Unless you cranked your machine up or something or did something. That's all. This is all factory here. There's no modifications with it or anything. So this does a nice job. I like it. And like I said, I haven't adjusted it. What I have done is, as I'm driving, if it seems like this is down too low, I'll just lift up on the 3-point arms a little bit. Or if I see like there's some larger limbs and stuff laying, I'll just lift them up to go over it and then set it back down again. And it does a nice job. I like it. I'm glad I got this. The purchase price for this was $1,700. That was tax, setup, everything. So I didn't think that was too bad. And I did look around at different brands. The reason I ended up going with the John Deere one was they were the only ones that have a brush hog, bush hog, rotary cutter in stock. Nobody else did. Big box stores didn't. A different brand that's orange, they didn't have any. They said they wouldn't have any rotary cutters until July. And the guy at the John Deere dealership told me, oh yeah, I got a whole truckload coming in. So when I got there to look at it, he had 2 of them, and one of them was already sold. So I got the last one that they had. So I don't know if that was just a little salesman pitch there or what. This is under the deck. You can see there's one of the blades. There's the other one. The stump jumper, I think, is what they call this piece here. So it's supposed to ride over, and then these blades, you can see I just moved it there. It pivots on that pin, and that's in case you hit something you're not supposed to. So, and these blades are pretty thick. I don't know if I'd say that's 3/8. I think the guy said half, but it looks closer to 3/8 of an inch. They're pretty heavy duty. And I asked about getting a finish mower, and he said, well, what are you cutting? And I said, well, you know, outside of woods, right alongside of it. And I said, that type of thing. And I said, probably maybe some trails. And he's like, you're better off going with a rotary cutter. He said, you're just gonna tear up a finish mower. So I'm glad I went with it. It actually does a really nice job. And even like cutting this grass on the outside, which, you know, I just cut this, it actually does a really nice job. All right, so we're gonna wrap it up here. I didn't get everything done, but the family's kind of losing patience with me. But you can tell this is gonna turn out nice. And get a little closer on both sides here. And then with the stick saw, I can clean up this trail, and this will be nice. It's stuff that's off to the side there, and then further down, that little shrub. So I did some other trails too, and it does a really nice job. So I should probably check the slip clutch the next time we're out here. The dealer said that's one thing you're going to want to check to make sure that it doesn't like rust itself tight. He's like, especially if it sits all winter long outside, he's like, it's a good idea to loosen it up and take a look at it, make sure it's gonna be free. And here you can tell this is where I didn't go. So it's quite a difference in this here too. You can see I opened that up. That's real nice. So we'll have more videos on it. I'm sure there'll be some small nuances that I'll have to pick up on the longer I use it, but didn't break it today, so that's nice. And did a nice job on the outside here, just absolutely cleaning up this brush next to the next to the woods here. Does a nice job. So all right, that's going to be it for now.